Today I wanted to share how I did this Zentangle pattern that was featured in a recent video. It's not that complicated, but it does take a little practice, and I suggest you use a pencil, a 4H pencil when you do it on your work, and an eraser, we're gonna need that, a ruler, and we will use a 0.5 marker today to show you what I'm doing so you can see it in the camera. I'm not going to use a 4H pencil today because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to use a 7B pencil. The reason why I suggest a 4H for you to use is because it leaves a very light line that won't leave a mark if you need to erase. Whereas the 7B can kind of get messy. It's a little thicker. It creates, I don't know, more pencil dust, if that's what you want to say. The 4H, don't press too hard or it will leave a groove in your paper. So kind of note to self about that. You don't want like little grooves everywhere. All right, so let's get started. This, like I said, is what I did. I laid watercolor down first and then put the pattern on the top. This is the actual pattern. So what I think we should use today is to practice, at least what I'm going to use, is a regular piece of copy paper, just like that. That's what this is on. Okay, to get started, take our pencil and our ruler. Let's draw a line down the center of the paper. I like to kind of go across the page. So if this is 8.5 inches wide, I'll do about a 4 1/4. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just, wherever you want to put your line, I just want to make sure that the line is not angled like this. I want it to be as straight up and down to get us started as possible. So what we're going to do, now I'm going to draw this line pretty faint so it doesn't interfere with what you're seeing with the pattern. And then from there, we're gonna go 1.5 inches across. 1.5 inches. Oops, that wasn't 1.5 inches. That was 1.25 inches I did. Got my eraser. First of many erases. Okay, and then we will draw another line. Now from here, we're going to go 3/4 inch. And then back to 1.5 inches. And then going the other way, we're going to do the same thing, 3 1/4 inches. When you get practiced at this pattern, you won't really need to make these guidelines. You'll automatically kind of understand how it goes together and you'll be able to draw it out much faster. Back to 1.5. And of course, you can always do this. If you want it to look real perfect and straight and lined up, you can always draw the pattern and then erase it out later. That's okay. It's okay to use a pencil. 1.5, 3/4. I'm going to write that in the top so you can see it as we go along. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a spot and we're going to draw a straight line across. And then that is the last we're going to do about being so picky about everything being perfect. If this is pages 11 inches, 11 inches, we're gonna go 5.5 inches down from each side. 5.5, and draw that line. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just don't want the pattern to be like sitting on the page crooked like that. Okay, let's put that ruler away. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw the arches, these. And they go from this point here to this point here, again from here and here, here and here. I have a tip for you about how to draw these arches pretty similar each time. So, when I draw an arch, let's draw a line on the page again. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want you to see. Okay, so there's the line, and I want it to go from here to here. Okay, so I'm gonna draw my arch. And a good way to make that same arch right here, I hope this works for you. It works for me all the time. I will just trace this a few times and practice that muscle movement, the muscle memory. Now when I scoot over, pretty much drew the same thing. Okay, practice that. It helps. Okay, so we're gonna go from this point here to this point here. Remember, we're gonna draw the arch, and we're gonna draw the arch again just to get the muscle memory, and then draw the arch again. And see, I didn't like how that came out. Some muscle memory. Goodness. Let's do that again. Muscle memory, muscle memory. Better. Okay. Now let's do it again. One more time. Let's draw it here. And then we're going to go here and draw it. Now this one, because we're cut off the page, we're going to go from here into nowhere. So I'm going to practice going the opposite direction. Okay? They don't all have to be absolutely perfect. Just let that go. That's all I have to say. We're here to have fun. You're here to draw and relax. You're not here to be a perfectionist and beat yourself up. Trust me. It took me most of my life to get over that perfectionism. I left realism painting because the perfectionism was killing me inside. So I find that doodling and all this, I can just let that go. I don't have to, and I can finally relax because I don't have to have every little line, every little mark absolutely perfect. It'll drive you crazy. So the next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna get that ruler out again. I lied, everyone, we're getting that ruler out again. We're gonna measure up 2.5 inches from this line, from the center of the arch, approximately the center of the arch, 2.5 inches, and just put a little dot there, okay? That's gonna be the top of your other arch, okay? So, or from here, you can go 2 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 2 3/8. That might be easier for some of you to do. And then just from here, just eyeball it straight across, another little dot, okay? So we're gonna go, let me get that distracting little dot away. Remember, muscle memory. We're gonna trace over it here, and we're gonna draw it here. Now we're gonna do the same thing. I just kind of eyeball it. And we're gonna draw it again. Here to here. And we're gonna, that one's a little wonky. I'm trying to draw the paper straight on. There. And here. And we're gonna remember, go this way now. Okay? There, now we're gonna do that again, all the way down the page, okay? We do use our ruler more than once. Remember, 2 3/8. 2 3/8. That's all you need, just that one dot, straight across. Muscle memory. Tilt the page so it's easier. Muscle memory. Now we're gonna go across here, straight across. And there came that muscle memory. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you get all the doodles inside, you won't see that these things aren't perfect. It'll just be. And then you let yourself go with it and you're like, I'm okay. I don't have to be perfect. 2 3/8. Oops, wrong side of the ruler. 2 and 1 2 3/8. That little dot. Let's do that one right here while we have it out. 1 2 3. Put that little dot right there. Okay. So let's go across with the dot. Just the dots. Now up here, the last part. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do this part. Okay, these. We're going to finish one row down. So you can draw a line here and just kind of get, this is going to be your base on how you're going to get started. So how this arc goes, it goes to like right here, like I'd say like a 1/4 inch. Let's measure that so you can kind of get an idea. So it will be like 3/4 of an inch up from here and then over 3/8 of an inch, okay? We'll just kind of say that. So now we're gonna go down. This is gonna be the arc that we use for the muscle memory, okay? I'm gonna just go straight down for a little while. And then I go back here to this little point and I go like that. Okay, so now we're going to draw a straight line across in our mind in about the same place. I'm going to follow this pattern down, down, and then draw my little arc. Okay, and now we're going to do that in all of these. Okay, and then you can adjust the shape of the arcs to make them look a little better for yourself. So then this is about the distance you want. I'll put a little dots and draw the little line, and then I kind of go back and say, is that about right? Does that look the same? It does. So now I'll put, it's close enough. So now I'm going to follow what I did here. I'm going to go straight down, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to arc up. Straight down, go here, and arc up. If you want to practice the arc, just keep going over the arc and then you can just go down the page that way. If you want, you can get your ruler back out and measure from here again, okay? So 3/4 of an inch from here, put a little dot, and then, or you can just go straight down like that, okay? That works too, is just kind of eyeball it. There. So now we're going to go pretend we're drawing a line right to there. Same thing, draw a line right to there. An imaginary line and then put it there. That'll keep them kind of straight. So now we're gonna muscle memory for about how far down I go, then muscle memory from here, muscle memory from here. Okay, same thing, down, muscle memory from here. Okay, there. I know this looks messy, but it will not look messy when you put the ink on it and when all these extra lines are erased out of it. And you don't want to erase those. You don't have to erase those until you actually put down the ink. And then whatever isn't covered by the ink, you can just get rid of. So let's do this again. We can just follow this straight down. That looks about 3/4. I'm not being too particular. Follow this straight down. Okay, we're gonna do this one here, this row here, and then I'll show you how to connect them to make the opposites, and then we can just quickly do the other side. There, let's draw that up. Down, oh, let's do these first. That looks about 3/4. That looks about 3/4. See how much I care? Not gonna be a perfectionist, and it still will look really good. That I didn't like, so I'll erase that. See how hard this 7B pencil is to erase? This is why you would rather use a 4H pencil. It's very light and it erases so much better. But I just wanted you all to be able to see on the camera the lines I'm drawing. I didn't want it to be, you know, I'm sitting here drawing on these lines and you can't see them anyway. That would be super annoying. Okay, and then draw the arc. Okay, now we're gonna do these last few. I'll speed it up, or maybe not. There's that, about 1/4 of an inch. Now that we have the two sides done, I'm gonna quickly do a speed it up. I'll draw these in and then I'll come back and show you how to do the opposite rows. So I'll just do this real quick. There, that's the first lined up rows. Now we're going to do the opposite rows. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a spot and we're going to draw this arc in this space, okay? So here we are, muscle memory, and we're going to say, oh, we'll put it right there. So muscle memory, right there to right there. And we're going to do the same. Let's see. That looks about right. Okay. Take that little dot, go straight across. Now, the next part is we're going to create this shape again from here to here. Okay, so we're going to do this part here. Draw our lines. Okay, that's where it's going to start. And then where it's going to end is somewhere right here. Okay, I have a little dot there I'm going to get rid of. Okay, and then we're going to draw that little dot right here. I know this looks crazy. Okay, straight down, arc. Anything that's inside here will erase. So straight down, arc. Now, just so you can see, I'm going to erase what's inside all those registration marks that we had. Let me get rid of them. Okay, oops, I missed that spot right there. Okay, so that's what it will look like. Now we're going to go down to the same thing. We're going to draw this line here. Okay, so we're going to go all the way down to here. And we're going to go this one down to here. And then we're going to decide about in that same spot. So we'll say right here, right there. Now remember, yours is going to have a lighter pencil, so it's not going to look this obnoxious. Okay, and again, I'll erase so you can see it coming together without too much confusion. At this point, it's just repetition and we're almost done. Here and here. Almost done. Okay. Alrighty. Now let's kind of go over it and make sure we got everything. We did not do this last row here. So here's our dot. And we're just gonna draw it up like that, okay? Here's our dot. And we're gonna go about there, straight down. Okay. Now here's our dot. Straight down, and it's very repetitious. Arc. Straight down. This one does not have an end point. Okay, now let me just go along and erase all those weird lines. See how smeary this can be? This is why you don't use this type of pencil. highly suggest the 4H, but don't press too hard. Okay, if you press too hard, drew it there. You can actually feel it in the paper. I don't know if you can feel it or if you can see. There's a groove there, definite groove. Okay, let's pull this back down so you can see it. Now here comes the fun part. I'm going to use a 0.5 marker. And all you are going to do is you're just going to go over each of the lines and just trace over them. Here's a tip. When at all possible, and if your paper is free floating and not taped down to like your table, you can always draw downward. Always pull downward. Your lines will be smoother. Everyone's always like, oh, your hand is so steady. Well, if I pull it down, it is. But if I try to push it up, it's a little more wonky. So always, because you're kind of having to use some kind of weight to push it. So always pull down whenever you can. And then you'll have more control over your pen. Okay. So what I like to do is I do all the ones going down. That are comfortable with where the paper are. And see how I'm missing, but that's okay because I'm going to erase that out. Or at least if I had a lighter pencil, it would have been a lot easier to erase. Okay, so this is, because I had to, going this way, and if I push up, they're going to be a little weird. So if I can, I'll turn the paper over and I'll pull down. Much easier. I do have a tremor in my hand and I still am able to do a straight line. And then I'll turn it to the side and I'll pull down the arches. Also, don't give your pen or pencil the death grip or you will shake. Coming from somebody with a tremor in her hand, that is, I'm hoping this is in the camera, that is the tricks that I have. And where they don't meet, you can just go right back up against it, okay? So let's get this one. Right here, I went over and kind of messed up, and I found a really great trick to fix that. If you don't have white out, get yourself a tiny Posca pen, what size is this? A PC1 MR. And I just dot over it. There, fixed. That easy. See, no stress, no worries, we can fix everything. Now, I'll get my brush pen, or my brush pen. I'm using the Copic Brush Small, and I'm I'm just going to color in these little crescents. Along the edges with very light touch on the tip, and then that will keep the point thin and small. So like when you're going into this corner here, just very barely touch the paper. Okay, I'm going to turn the paper a little bit, and I'm going to just, in each one of these, make, I'll show you, a little border in each one. So, start here and pull down. Again here. Doesn't have to be perfect, because when you put the pattern in, it kind of covers up any differences in thicknesses. And then you'll do it to the bottom. So 3 sides of each one, not the top. And then you're just going to go in each one of these and do the same. If you try to go too fast, it might, your lines might get wobbly. So I kind of take my time with this. to do this, all these, or watch me do how I did this with the watercolor and drawing in all of these doodles, the video will be on top. There'll be a link above me. Thanks for watching.